Hello and welcome to stage 2 at the OVO Energy Women's Tour as the riders make their way now from Rushden to Daventry. Well, we're expecting a bit of a shake-up here today, not necessarily a mass gallop to the line as we saw on yesterday's opening stage. First, let's take a look back and see how it unfurled. The peloton of 102 rolled out under sunny skies for stage 1 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour 2018 from Framingham to Southwold. The pace in the first hour averaged 38 kilometres and the first classified climb of the day came in Christchurch Park after 27.5k. Christine Majerus of Bowles Dolmans was the first over the line here to become Skoda Queen of the Mountains. Amy Peters secured the Iceberg Sprint jersey after crossing the line in second and then first in the intermediate sprints. In a hectic first day, a number of crashes affected riders, including Wiggle High Fives Kirsten Wild and Danny Rowe of Wild Deals also got up from a crash to take the Best British Rider jersey. It was Belgian champion Jolien D'Or of Mitchelton Scott who rounded off the stage to perfection to take the victory just 3 weeks after suffering a broken collarbone.
But straight down the centre of the road, you can see this headwind, but it goes to De Hoora. The Belgian champion is back.
So the sprinters currently dominate the general classification with D'Or wearing the green OVO Energy Race Leaders jersey. She's 2 seconds ahead of Rivera, whose efforts in the intermediate sprint gave her a 2-second buffer over Bastianelli in third. When it's come to discussing this year's battle for the general classification, the name Hannah Barnes has come up time and time again, and she joins me now. How was it out there on the road yesterday?
Yeah, it was great. A lot of the Suffolk crowd came out to cheer us on, which was really nice. There was so many school children out there, which I think we all really like. I don't know if they're happy to see us or happy just to get out of class, but either way, it's really nice for us.
And a lot of people that I spoke to after the stage were saying it was a pretty hectic start to the Women's Tour this year. Is that what you'd expect on day one?
Yeah, normally day one is quite stressful, especially when it comes to a predicted bunch sprint. A lot of teams are out there getting organised, and yeah, it just got pretty hectic out there. You just have to stay really close to the front and out of danger, which we were all able to do, which was nice for us. But yeah, it's a new day today, and the wind's come, so I think it's going to be quite a challenging day out there, and especially with the circuit over Newnham Hill twice, it's going to be quite difficult.
How was that finish yesterday? Because it did look like a hefty headwind up that finishing straight.
Yeah, it was hard. You had the wind coming in from the right, and then it was just a block headwind to the finish. So you had to be quite careful and not go too early in the sprint. But yeah, it was a hard day for sure, and it was a nice way to start the tour.
Well, it did come down to a bunch sprint, and it was Jolien D'Or of Mitchelton Scott that took that bunch gallop. Always an impressive display of power from her, but even more so when you consider that just 3 weeks ago she suffered a broken collarbone.
Someone rode in between us, so yeah, we couldn't avoid it, and we crashed with the 4 of us, and I was the only one with a lot of damage, and I broke my collarbone and I tore some ligaments in my foot as well. And then the next day I had surgery, and basically 3 days after my surgery I was back on my bike on the rollers. So I wanted to be as quick as I could on my bike because I really wanted to do a women's tour.
Tell us a bit about the recovery process after surgery.
Yeah, 3 days after my surgery I was on the rollers, and maybe 5-6 days after it I was on the road. I could just pedal on my bike and could do a lot. I couldn't pull my handlebar or I couldn't stand upright. I just had to switch like a button in my head and say, okay, I'm going for it. I'm not allowed to be scared in the bunch or anything because I have a team trusting on me for the sprint, so the girls believe in me. And then I wanted to give to them something back. So yeah, I just went for it yesterday, and luckily it all paid off.
Talk us through that sprint. Uphill, looked like a pretty hefty headwind as well.
Yeah, it was already a big fight coming into the final because we had a tailwind and narrow roads, and there were a lot of crashes. Everybody was so nervous. So actually it was a fight before the sprint, but then my team brought me in the perfect position coming into the second last and the last corner. So I just basically had to follow them, and they made it really easy for me, and then I had to come out the last 250 meters, so yeah.
And how are you feeling coming into stage 2 this morning?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, and the team is really strong. I'm hoping to help them today. I hope to give them something back. It's a bit hilly, so it's not my favorite kind of course, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, as Jolien mentioned there, a very different stage today from yesterday's opening stage. Hannah, talk us through what we can expect to see out on the road today.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off quite gentle and then it just gets a little bit more challenging as the stage goes on. We do Newnham Hill twice, so all of us get to see the finish before we actually finish. Yeah, which is, I think Newnham Hill is definitely going to be where the deciding move goes. It will probably be a reduced bunch sprint, I think, compared to yesterday. And yeah, it's going to be a really good day. There's a lot of people that are going to be out there cheering us on. I know the Northamptonshire always gets behind the race, which is really nice for us. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
And home roads for you as well today?
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of them. Mum and Dad, they now live near Rushden, and we go past Witcherbury Hall where me and Alice used to work, and very close to Toaster where our secondary school was. So yeah, for us it's a really nice stage to do.
How much does it specifically suit you today?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's anything can happen in these kind of races, and it just have to. It's a long day as well. So yeah, you can go through quite a lot of stages of fatigue and whatnot throughout the stage. You just have to be on top of your fueling throughout the day, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it.
A lot of people watching at home will expect you in the peloton to know exactly what's coming up, but how difficult is it to always have recce'd everything that is going to approach you on the day?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I cannot for life of me remember Newnham Hill, which is actually really annoying. But yeah, it will come back to me. I think when I'm on the roads, I'll suddenly remember where I am. But yeah, Newnham Hill, Daventry was a little bit too far out for me to go training on. But yeah, I'm sure it'll all come back to me.
Well, let's take a closer look now at what is in store on stage 2. Take a look at this. At 143.9 kilometres, Stage 2 is the second longest of this year's tour. After leaving Rushden, the riders hit the first 2 sprints of the day before heading south towards Milton Keynes. The first Queen of the Mountains climb is at Weedon Hill, quickly followed by the second at Newnham Hill with a sprint the first time through Daventry. The route then loops back over Newnham Hill for a second time before the finish in Daventry. Rushden is the location for the start of Stage 2, set in the heart of the Nene Valley. It rose to prominence as a boot and shoe town. Rushden Lakes offers an exciting new dimension to the region with 30 acres of high-quality shopping and restaurants, and over 200 acres of lakes for leisure activities in an area of outstanding natural beauty. The historic market town of Daventry, set among the rolling hills of West Northamptonshire, provides the perfect backdrop to the finish of this stage. The area has picturesque scenery and is rich in history. Time now for a quick break, and we'll be back in just a few moments with all the highlights from Stage 2 at the OVO Energy Women's Tour in the company of our...
The riders on the start, ready for Stage 2, and as you can see, all our leaders' jerseys across the front on the start. So on the left, that light blue jersey there of Danny Rowe, watch out for her today. And the green OVO Energy leaders jersey of Jolien de Hoora. Next to her, the Skoda Queen of the Mountains of Christine Majerus, and then that red Iceberg Sprints jersey of Amy Peters. And today, Joe, we roll out, we go out of Rushden, and then we've got 2 early sprints for the teams to contend. But once again, beautiful crowds here at the start.
Yeah, it's always great for the runners to have these sort of crowds at the start, especially for home riders. So Hannah Barnes and Alice Barnes, both from very close to this area, so this will be a special stage for them. I think the big thing today is that yesterday was quite hectic, it was quite nervous, which is quite common for the first day of a stage race. But hopefully today the riders will be a bit more relaxed in the bunch. Hopefully we'll see a bit of a safer race and a bit more of a selection on this course today.
So you've just seen the riders on the neutralised section. We roll out to kilometre 0 where the race proper will start. And Jolien de Hoora, she was staying overnight. She was really pleased with how her collarbone reacted after that surgery. She came even into the finish. She hadn't done any sprints in training, but also saying that really was her only opportunity to win a stage of this year's OVO Energy Women's Tour. The only one really for the sprinters.
Oh, I think that was absolutely incredible. I mean, I broke my collarbone myself. I mean, I had to wait about a week till I had surgery, and she said she was back on her bike after about 3 days. It's absolutely phenomenally quick recovery to be back racing that soon. And like she said, yesterday was the one day she thought was her opportunity, and she grabbed it. And fair play to her team, they executed a perfect lead out. It was absolutely incredible performance.
They have your teams on your screen. Lots of riders to pick out to. I think Canyon SRAM in particular. We've said it before. Kasia Niewiadoma, last year's winner, and Joe just mentioned the Barnes sister, Hannah Barnes, has won a stage previously of this race, and it wasn't far away from here when she took that one. All the riders starting today, so 102 riders. If you were with us yesterday, we'd have seen a few crashes on the run-in towards the finish. All riders up and racing, which is always good news.
It is always good news, and like I say, day one of a stage race is always a bit nervous, but it's good to see everybody take the start today.
And in terms of the weather forecast for today, some really high winds forecast, 23 to 35 km/h winds. Do you think that might pose a problem?
Oh, I think it will, yeah. I think the Dutch teams particularly love racing in the wind, and it's a good opportunity to split the race up. Yesterday we had a bunch sprint. That was the day for the sprinters. Today there'll be a lot of people thinking they don't want it to come to a bunch sprint anymore, so the wind will be a brilliant way to break it up.
And they have it, kilometre zero, and we are off and racing, and we can expect that usual flurry of attacks that we get at the beginning of the race, but they have thrown in 2 early intermediate sprints, the Iceberg Sprints competition, so 3, 2 and 1 points on offer at those, but also those valuable bonus seconds. And it's Georgia Williams coming through to the front here for Mitchelton Scott in that white New Zealand champions jersey. And again, you see the Bull Dolmans team getting towards the front. And these bonus seconds, they really are so important in this race. And Amy Peters in that red jersey moving up onto her wheel.
Yeah, well, Amy Peters for Bowles Dolmans is in the jersey, so she wants to maintain that jersey. There'll also be GC riders that are going for these sprints to get the bonus seconds. So you've got some GC riders, some sprinters, quite a lot of motivation for these points in these sprints.
There's your sign, 1 kilometre to go to the first sprint of the day, and it's the world champion that's right on the front, Chantal Black. And she's probably not a rider that that team's going to be looking at for the general classification in this race, but she's got Amy Peters right on her wheel. Sunweb coming up in those white jerseys with the black shoulders and those 2 stripes straight down the centre. Corin Rivera is their sprinter, and Corin already yesterday was up there and battling early on for the bonus sprints. It looks like they're following the same tactic today.
Yeah, I think Corinne Rivera will be hungry to get some of these points here as well. She looked strong yesterday. She's had a slower start to the season this year than last year, but had a couple of wins just a couple of weeks ago in Germany. So definitely on good form. But once again, Bowles Dolmans, Chantal Black leading out Amy Peters here. Bowles Dolmans are keen to get some jerseys. They've already got the Skoda Queen of the Mountains yesterday on day 1, but they're keen to keep this points jersey as well.
So Floorty Mackay has handed over to Ellen van Dijk now in the centre. So they're really throwing everything into these lead outs for the first bonus sprints, and you can see the wind blowing into the face of the riders through here. There's Corin Rivera in the centre, so Ellen van Dijk swings off there. There's Rivera in the white jersey, Amy Peters on the left in the red. Rivera now into the slipstream of Amy Peters. Can Corin Rivera come past? You can see now battling hard with each other here, and Lotte Lepisto in that white Finnish champions jersey now challenging Rivera, but Rivera throws the bike at the line and takes the first sprint of the day. And there you have it. There's confirmation. So Corin Rivera just taking that one just ahead of Lotte Lepisto with the red Iceberg Sprints leader Amy Peters in 3rd. There's the standings now after the first sprint of the day. So Corin Rivera now moves into the virtual lead in that Iceberg Sprints competition. But still 2 sprints to go. So we've got one in Cogenhoe, which comes quite soon after this one, and then one on the first passage of the finish line with 34.1 to go. Not sure the riders will be thanking the organisers too much, having 2 sprints right at the beginning, one after the other.
Yes, it gets them out of the way though. I mean, yesterday we had the Queen of the Mountains very, very early on, and we saw full-on lead-outs for that. So here we're going to have the sprinters getting themselves organised, getting their teams organised, getting their sprints done, and then for them it's about surviving this stage, because we have got the climbs later on. It could all come back together and it could still come to a sprint, so they want to get these sprints done now, get their points in the bag, and then look after themselves for the stage finish.
Now the Wow Deals team in the green on the left, just moving up. We just caught a glimpse of the blue jersey of Danny Rowe, and Danny Rowe always tries to get as many bonus seconds in stage races as possible, but they got Marianne Vos in that white jersey of the European champion. So now Wow Deals getting in on the action for the next sprint. So those orange jerseys of Bull Dolman straight down the centre, Sunweb on the right. It's a bit of a trident lead out here, 3 teams right at the front.
Yeah, Danny Rowe must be feeling good because she's got 3 teammates in front of her leading her out for this sprint. We don't think she's going to be going for the points jersey overall. We think she's going to be going for the bonus seconds, and she must be feeling good. This is more of an uphill sprint here as well leading into this, and Danny is a very good climber, so I think Danny could have good legs for this one.
And Danny Rowe wearing the blue jersey as the Adnam's best British rider, so good to have that classification. Here you can just see her now, about 3rd in line behind Marianne Vos as Chantel Black through towards the front again, but you can see this intermediate sprint and a fairly decent rise here, and Chantel Black just looking around, so not wanting to overuse the power too early on the lead out for this one. But now on the left in that white jersey, Marianne Vos out of the saddle now, starts to wind this sprint up for Danny Rowe, who's locked in steady on the wheel of Vos, and a great lead out now for Danny Rowe. Vos is leading this one out, another rider that would also want bonus seconds in this one if she can get it, but Marianne Vos still on the front. Has a look round, there's Danny Rowe now really digging deep in this sprint. Corin Rivera and Amy Peters trying to get up towards Danny Rowe, but Danny Rowe takes that one, and Corin Rivera again scoring some good points and some bonus seconds, just slotting in there in 2nd place.
That was an excellent sprint by Danny Rowe, and who better to have lead you out than Marianne Vos, but it was a very hard sprint, but impressive to see Corinne Rivera be up there in that. It was a hard uphill into that sprint, and it is early in the stage, but with Marianne Vos leading you out, brilliant sprint win for Danny, but very impressed by Corinne Rivera there as well.
And there you can see virtually on the road, now extending her lead in that competition. So 2 sprints down, 1 to come right on the line. And Danny Rowe just has a look round, and now we start to get a little dig off the front here. And it's the BTC Ljubljana team that are now going on the attack. So good time straight after that sprint now to try and get away, just when everyone's looking around and trying to recover.
This is a perfect time to attack the bunch. A lot of the riders will be hurting a lot. That was full-on lead-outs for that sprint, and it was uphill as well. There will be a nice lull in the action, but she's made a very good move here on her own.
Our lone leader Micah Bogard here on stage 2 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour, heading towards Daventry. She's been in the lead for almost 70 kilometres, and she had a maximum lead of 4 minutes. The peloton now starting to sweep her up, but Joe, in your time you've had a few solo breakaways in your career. Sometimes it pays off, and then sometimes, like today, it doesn't.
Oh, I did. It's always good fun going on a breakaway. You would like a couple of other riders with you because that would make it easier. And for her, it's good for her to get her team sponsors out there. But yeah, it would have been far better if she could have stayed away to pick up something like the Queen of the Mountain points. So it's tough. It's a tough, hard day out for her. But I think the peloton were happy for a rider to go away that wasn't going to be a GC threat. They could relax a little bit, take the pace down a little bit, then get themselves organised. And they're bringing her back nicely now before the next QOM points.
So just 19 years old is Micah Bogard, and a former national junior time trial champion of the Netherlands, and has represented her country many times over the years, and a really strong time trialist. And when you're away like this on your own, you've got to have that time trial background, really, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got to be able to get your head down and hurt yourself without having a wheel to chase. So a lot of riders need someone else either in front of them or behind them to make them work hard, but a good time trialist can just apply that power, get their head down, get the effort out, ride sort of on the edge of their threshold all day. And a little congratulations from another rider in the peloton there, acknowledging that that was a big day out for her. So well done to her.
Heading towards the first Queen of the Mountains point of the day, Newnham Hill. It's just 1.1 kilometres in length, 1.3%. Going into today's stage, it was Christine Majerus of Bull Dolmans who was leading in the Queen of the Mountains classification ahead of Elisa Longo Borghini, with Cecily Ludwig in third place. So 3 climbs along the route today, all coming at the back end of the stage. So this is the first one, and this is very close to where the Barnes sisters are from. We know that the first club of Hannah Barnes, the team at Milton Keynes, are real supporters over the years, always volunteering, and they're out cheering on Hannah and Alice on the climb today. Just on the descent now, and Katie Archibald just at the back here. She took a bit of a tumble yesterday, Katie Archibald, and it's an ominous sign of her just rolling along the back here.
Yeah, it is. She crashed yesterday. It was a difficult one. She'd gone back for her teammate. She was at the back of the bunch, and then there was another crash which she got caught up in, and she's still on the comeback from a broken collarbone which she sustained at the Tour de Yorkshire. So yeah, very frustrating for Katie, but well done for her for starting today and giving it a good go.
Now we're on to the climb, lining up for the Queen of the Mountains. Kasia Niewiadoma now moves through towards the front, and we're looking for that black jersey of the Queen of the Mountains leader, Christine Majerus. She managed to get up towards the front, and there she is, just on the left of your picture there, just moving up in the white helmet with those red and blue stripes on the top, and at the back here, not a sight you want to see. Katie just trying to battle on here.
Yeah, she's obviously in some pain here from yesterday's crash. You know, Katie's a class bike rider. We don't normally see her in this position. So, yeah, I do feel for her. It is tough in your home tour to be in this position.
Kasia Niewiadoma on the front, and she now just trying to line this up for the sprint, but Christine Majerus now rides through towards the front. She'll want to give herself a clear run towards the line. Elisa Longo Borghini, the Italian champion, there on the right, just trying to move up as well. We said she's up in this competition, and this climb, and on paper we say it doesn't look particularly steep. And then just at the back here, our Swiss national champion, just Nicole Hanselman, just in all sorts of trouble there. It looks like with her gears up towards the top now, and it's between Majerus and Elisa Longo Borghini, but Christine Majerus crossing the summit there just ahead of the Italians, but they really have stretched out the peloton now.
That is a very strung out bunch. These girls at the back here, these girls are still climbing. It's very tough in this position because the others will be perhaps having some attacks over the top, but these girls still got the climb to finish. So gritting their teeth here, going to try and make the junction to the back of that peloton.
There's your standings. So Christine Majerus just extending her lead by 2 points in the Queen of the Mountains competition. And those riders, they'll be looking to try and get themselves back on over the top of this climb. And we're heading towards Newnham Hill next, and then we'll go through the finish in Daventry, loop back around, and we'll have a second climb of Newnham Hill, and the summit of that will come with 2.3 kilometres to go. How important is that going to be, or beneficial to the riders today, to be able to see what is quite a technical finish before we get to there on at the line?
I think it's key. I mean, yesterday was a point-to-point race, and no one would have ridden the finish beforehand in the race situation. So it really paid off who had done their homework. And I know Jolene said that she'd been, looking on maps and everything and looking at the finish, and it paid off for her to take the win. But today, by doing a finishing loop, everyone would have seen the final climb, the run into the finish. You get a little practice, you get a little run out as well. So people will be sort of testing what gear they want to use, testing their legs, and then lining it up for the big one the next time round.
So moving on towards Newnham Hill, and the riders just some quite narrow technical roads on the run in towards the climb here. And a few of the WNT riders just on the back of the group. But at the front, starting to get the lead out here, and it's Mitchelton Scott, the team of the leader Jolene Dura, the green jersey, overnight leader. And for her, it's Newnham Hill. It's quite a steep climb. So for Jolene Dura, do you think the team just bringing her through towards the front, just try and give her a little bit of drift room on some of these climbs to potentially try and hang on to that jersey?
Yeah, definitely. If you start the climb at the front, even if you're a far slower climber, you've still got a lot of space. You've got 102 riders to go back and still be in the bunch. So if you could start at the front, huge advantage. I think Jolene has said this stage isn't for her today, but by having her team on the front now, this is probably going to make everyone question perhaps she is feeling good or perhaps she wants to test herself this time round.
She does indeed. Sara Penton in the centre there in that Swedish national champions jersey, the blue with the yellow cross. And Jolene Dura just having a look around here as we start the Queen of the Mountains point here at Newnham Hill. So lots of points on offer on the next climb. So a few of these riders will just be hoping that the legs have recovered from that previous climb. And this is Micah Bogard there, number 143, our solo leader, and all of those kilometres out in the front really taking the toll on the legs now.
Oh yeah, that will really take its toll. She's had a very hard day compared to everyone else, and she won't be expected to do anything now. You know, that was her target for the day. Her team would have said try and get a breakaway, try, you know, get some publicity for the team, get your name out there. So for her, that's job done for the day. So well done. Now she needs to survive to the stage finish and just limit her losses overall.
Moving on, Kasia Nuvedoma there in the centre for Canyon Stram. And just at the back here, you can see Pauline Royakers. So her teammates are the ones setting the tempo on the front, and she's struggling just to hold on to the back of the bunch there. Lisa Longo-Bordini just getting squeezed just a touch on the left of the picture. And again, Danny Rowe in that blue Adnam's Best British Riders jersey, well to the front here.
Yeah, and she's looking comfortable as well. This climb, because it is a harder one, I think we're going to see more of the GC riders going for this. It's not just about the jersey, it's about testing everyone's legs, seeing who's got the legs on the climb. And Danny, so far, looking good. She's always in a good position anyway, but looking quite comfortable in those images there.
We might think, really looking at her, she's spending an awful lot of time at the front, but as a rider, you preserve a lot more energy by riding a lot closer to the front than you do sort of sitting on the back and having to play catch up all the time.
Well, yeah, it makes a huge difference. So Danny here, we see a lot of her, but she is always behind someone else, so she is getting shelter from another rider, whether it's a teammate or a different rider. But yeah, always in a good position, always there to follow the attack. So when someone goes like here, she's right there, can see it all unfold.
Look at the effort now on the face of Kasia Nuvedoma, and it's Elisa Longo-Borghini in that Italian national champions jersey that's battling to try and come round her. And this is a good sign now on Newnham Hill. You can see just how steep this climb is, and this could be decisive next time round, coming so close to the finish. But it's Longo-Borghini. It was her teammate Audrey Cordon-Rago that took the Queen of the Mountains title last year. She was up there and fighting for points yesterday, and it's just getting steeper and steeper now as we get towards the top. But the Wiggle High Five rider with last year's winner right on her heels, looking strong here at the summit, looking like she's going to take maximum points here.
This is a tough climb. TV always makes it look easier than it is, but that was steep there. But these two riders clearly showing everyone else who is the strongest here today. Elisa Longo-Borghini, particularly strong setting the pace, but Kasia Nuvedoma is not letting her get anywhere.
So Kasia Nuvedoma right in on the wheel, and great to see such large crowds out on Newnham Hill here today. And always a great vantage point to see the race come through. So there's the line, and it's Elisa Longo-Borghini who crests the summit just ahead of Kasia Nuvedoma. But I just caught a glimpse of Marianne Vos in that white European Champions jersey with the blue jersey of Danny Rowe right on the wheel.
That's great riding by those teammates there, Marianne Vos and Danny Rowe. It's good that they can work together. It's always useful for a rider to have a really strong teammate, because you've got options. If you're both up there, you can have a quick word with each other. Who's feeling good today? Who's going to go for this? So for the two of them, brilliant position to be in.
There's Bex Durrell there, number 151, another rider that went down in that crash yesterday, lost a little bit of time. And there's your OVO Energy green jersey, the overnight leader, Jolien Dura here. She's got Lotta Lepisto right on the wheel, so just starting to drift off the back. There's your standing. So now Elisa Longo-Borghini moves into the lead, 4 points ahead of Christine Majerus. And as well as that, Longo-Borghini now going on the offensive, and some big names giving chase.
This is great racing here. So Alyssa Longo-Borghini has shown just how strong she is, and she's going it alone. It is still quite a long way to the finish, but there's some really big names behind her. Cassie Nieuwedome, Marianne Vos and Danny Rowe all working hard to chase her down. If that group could get together, that could be very dangerous.
Important here as well for Alyssa Longo-Borghini. We've got the next iceberg sprint points, which comes on the first passage of the finish line with 34.1 kilometres to go. 3, 2 and 1 seconds on offer on that one. And then Micah Bogard there just going over the summit. But here you have it, a lone leader with 3 strong chasers, and Marianne Vos just eating up the gap between her and Alyssa Longo-Borghini.
I think Borghini here would have seen that the riders are catching her, and it's a good opportunity to test her legs before the next time round of the actual finish, but she might be holding just a little bit back, thinking getting in a group of 4 here would be a very wise move.
So your 4 leaders here, Marianne Vos of Wow Deals with Danny Rowe, her teammate in that blue jersey right behind her. Alyssa Longo-Borghini that started the action, slots in there in 3rd place, and right on the back, Kasia Nieuwedome. This is a dangerous move here. There's going to be a lot of concerned riders just in the group behind.
This is a dangerous move, and also with 2 riders from the same team, we can see here Marianne Vos working very, very hard on the front for her teammate Danny Rowe. I would say this means Danny is feeling good, and with a sprint coming up on the line in just 500 metres time, Danny's going to want to get all those bonus points for herself.
She is indeed, Marianne Vos leading out, and you can't ask for a better team maybe. You can see behind now the splits that are occurring under the pressure there of Alyssa Longo-Borghini on the climb, but in towards the finish, and this is the first time we're going to see this. Danny Rowe now in that blue jersey. Now tries to see the line ahead of her. Longo-Borghini is into the slipstream of Danny Rowe, but looks like Rowe's going to take the bonus second. They get the bell as they go through there. That's an important win there for Danny Rowe to take them.
That was a brilliant sprint by Danny, and she's shown that she is the quickest sprinter of that group. So that's really a sort of group of more climbers there, more GC riders. And Danny is a very strong climber, but she has got that track background. She is very quick in a sprint, so she's picked up some very, very valuable seconds there, which will help her a lot on the overall GC later.
An interesting looking around that chasing group. So Corin Rivera's in there, Ellen Van Dijk for Sunweb in those white jerseys. They got Floorty Mackay, Chantel Black there, the world champion, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. There's the sprint standings. So Corin Rivera now 1 point lead ahead of Danny Rowe with 34.1 to go, all to play for. Heading towards the closing stages here on stage 2 of the 2018 OVO Energy Women's Tour, just outside 10 kilometres to go, all back together and heading towards the final climb of the day. Newnham Hill did quite some damage on the previous lap, and unfortunately we've seen that Katie Archibald's had to pull out.
Yeah, that is a real shame for Katie. She crashed yesterday. She crashed a few weeks ago at Tour de Yorkshire. She's not having a great run of luck at the moment, but she will be back. She'll be fighting, but she did look to be in a lot of pain. She looked to just be nowhere near her normal self. So unfortunately had to pull out today, but I'm sure we'll see a lot more of her later in the season.
Well, indeed, and now some teams are looking to try and get to the selection through, approaching the final climb of the day. And quite interesting here that we're seeing Sunweb coming up towards the front, and Corin Rivera, we know her as a sprinter, but she won last year's Tour of Flanders. She can get over the climbs, so Sunweb, again, they're looking like they're investing a lot in Corin Rivera here.
Yeah, she can get over the climb. She is incredibly powerful, incredibly fast. Very good technically as well, and I think that's a really good warning sign, the fact her team are on the front, showing she must have communicated to someone in her team that she's got good legs today.
And you can see here today the peloton really splintering. We've had quite strong winds throughout the day today, and a lot of riders now as we head in towards the finish. For them, it's not disaster losing time at this point, really, is it? They've just got to keep their legs fairly fresh for tomorrow.
Yeah, so some riders would have done a job for the team. They might have done a lead out for an intermediate sprint or for one of the earlier QOMs. So some riders would have done their jobs, and then they can then relax and just get themselves to finish as best they can to recover for the next day, which is a difficult thing to do as a bike racer. You know, you still want to be up there contesting the finish if you can, but I always say to people, if you do your job properly, then you haven't got anything left for the finale. So some girls out the back there, perhaps their job's done for the day. They can just get themselves to the finish as safe as possible.
There's Lottie Becker on the back there, number 112, the German rider for the High Tech Products team. And just ahead of her, Chanel Mason from the Story Racing team. And Chanel, as we said, a late entry for the Story Racing team. And member of the British Army is Chanel, but at the front it's Leah Kirschman that's doing the work on the front for Team Sunweb. And the narrow roads as we head towards Newnham Hill. Joe, if you're at this point, what are you thinking as a rider? The 2.3 kilometres from the finish, it's close enough to try and jump clear here, to try and hang on to the finish.
It is. So we can see from the teams on the front, that was Hannah Barnes there for Canyon SRAM. There must be a Canyon SRAM rider thinking they're feeling good. We've also seen Sunweb on the front, so you're thinking Corinne Rivera, and I've also seen Danny Rowe and a couple of her teammates up there on the left of the peloton. So we already seen Danny has got very good legs. We've seen that she can hang on to the climbers on that climb, and she is the fastest sprinter as well out of that sort of group. So she needs to stay with these climbers on this climb and then see what she can do at the finish.
Hannah Barnes in the centre looking very, very comfortable on the climb. And, the rider, she's from this area, and we finished in Northampton, where we skirt previously when we first had the addition of the OVO Energy Women's Tour. Emma Johansson took that stage ahead of Marianne Vos, with Hannah Barnes in third. So if she's up there at this point, maybe she fancies her chances today.
Yeah, she's doing quite a lot of work on the front here, though, so it could be one of her teammates. She's obviously got Cassine Uedoma in the squad, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Some very, very big names. That's a team where you can look and you think, I don't know who's going to be the team leader, which keeps everyone else in the peloton guessing as well. And they've got so many options, so many different cars to play each day. But it looks to me here that Hannah Barnes isn't going to be going for the win herself today.
We just saw Leah Kirschman as well. She's done a big job on the front. She really has split the peloton at the back. She's going to hand over to Florty Mackay. The Queen of Mountains and also the Iceberg Sprints have been quite interesting over the last few days. We're starting to get the FDJ team on the front here. Just how much the teams are fighting out and leading out their riders for the Jersey competitions.
This is a great run in for a stage finish as well, having a climb. There'll be riders wanting QOM points, but really this is going to be about the stage win today. Also riders that are going for the GC, they'll need to check they are up there, even if they're not thinking today's the day that they can win. They need to make sure they don't lose any time on that climb, don't get caught behind anyone who's struggling. Just 4k to go now.
4 kilometres to go, and leading in towards Newnham Hill for the second time. 1.6 kilometres in length, average gradient of 5.2%, but it's got some steep little ramps, and it was Elisa Longo-Borghini on the previous time around that jumped clear. She managed to take maximum points at the top. She's now the virtual leader of the Skoda Queen of the Mountains competition right through there, and it's still Team Sunweb on the front, and Corinne Rivera looking very, very comfortable on the back of her teammates.
She is looking good, and she's putting herself in the best position for this climb. She's right up there in third wheel. If she needs any sliding room, she's got it. You can also see Danny Rowe there just behind her. But it is the best position to be in. If you know you're not the best climber, you need to be starting at the front. And with a couple of strong teammates like that to get you up there, she's had a great, nice, sort of easier ride, not easy ride, thanks to her teammates to put her there.
I've also just seen Team Virtus starting to come up as well, and Katarzyna Pawlowska, and she's a multiple world champion on the track, and a few riders that have done their big turns. They put their team leaders into the right position, and now on the left of your picture there you can see another former general classification winner here in the women's tour, Lisa Brennauer, now moving through towards the front. So a bit of a dangerous rider, and a bit of bandaging on the leg there from a crash yesterday.
Yes, we saw her come down yesterday, and that was what caused the other Wiggle High Five riders to wait for her. So that was unfortunate for that team yesterday, but we've seen how good Elisa Longo-Borghini's legs are already on this climb. So I think perhaps she'll be working for her. But like you say, another option, another car for them to play for that team.
Another one of our sprinters just drifting back, Barbara Gwarishki. So her job has been done. 3 kilometres to go. Lisa Brennauer on the front, but here goes Longo-Borghini, so the Italian national champion, definitely looking like she's targeting this Queen of the Mountains competition. Now starts to wind it up, so all of the general classification contenders, her being one of them, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot right on the wheel. So big move here from Longo-Borghini, and you can see a lot of riders now fighting to try and stay with her.
Yeah, Elisa Longo-Borghini looking very, very strong on this climb. She had it all her own way before, and it's really getting strong out now. But 2 riders from Canyon SRAM right up there in the top 4.
Just saw Marianne Vos making a big move up the outside, and here she comes in that white jersey. Danny Rowe trying to battle back to her teammate, but Marianne Vos up towards the front here. But it's still Pauline Ferrand-Prévot that's in a commanding position for the Canyon SRAM team. Such an interesting rider is for Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. She's been a world champion on the road, in the mountain bikes, in the cyclocross. She's sort of the epitome of a rider that crosses over all of the cycling disciplines. And it's Elena Emiliusik that now moves through towards the front. So another Canyon SRAM rider right up there. But again, Danny Rowe in that blue Best British Riders jersey, very, very vigilant and making sure she keeps right to the front.
Danny is riding brilliantly, following the wheels here. But here, Alyssa Longo-Borghini going again to get those points.
Great move by Longo-Borghini. Will she persist with this one? We saw her do it on the previous lap. You just see her cadence change as she shifted back onto the big chain ring, but this is the damage that's being done behind. There's confirmation, so 6 points for Longo-Borghini. Elena Emiliusik takes 5, and Danny Rowe just keeping herself well up there. And Van Dijk sweeping up the 1 point. She's the rider doing the job for the Sunweb rider, Corinne Rivera. It's a lot for the Sunweb riders dropping back. There's your Queen of the Mountains standing. So Lisa Longo-Borghini now 18 points, so quite a considerable advantage over Christine Majerus in second place. Back to the front, Longo-Borghini keeping the pressure on here. So as we said, it's very close to the finish. So just 2.3 from the top of that climb. And if Longo-Borghini can keep the pressure on here, it'll just mean that a lot of riders, you can see the splits behind those little groups, won't be able to get back.
Yeah, this is really tough. Just little tiny gaps that open up in the wheels. If you let it go and just blink and just leave it for a second and hesitate, those riders are going to be gone. But we're seeing a very, very elite group forming here now.
And it's Ellen Van Dijk that moves through towards the front. And from the aerial shot, there's Corinne Rivera right on the back. So Team Sunweb doing a perfect job as we go through 1 kilometre to go. And Corinne Rivera sat on the back of the group, and her teammates on the front, followed by Elisa Longo-Borghini, Danny Rowe, Marianne Vos, Amy Peters still in there as well. Georgia Williams in that white New Zealand champions jersey, just having a chat with her teammate. Maybe a little shake of the head there just to say, I'm not quite feeling so good for the sprint.
This is a brilliant position for Corinne Rivera here with her teammate on the front doing the lead out, making sure no one else can attack in this last K. If these girls ease up, you'll have other riders get back on, other riders try and go for an attack. But we know Corinne Rivera is a really strong sprinter. I like to see Danny sprinting well here as well. Marianne Vos, another one. We saw how frustrated she was yesterday at that stage finish, so she must have good legs as well.
You can see now some riders just pedaling back onto the group. Ellen Van Dijk's doing the big job on the front. Lots of riders now looking around. Watch out for Amy Peters as well. She's a dangerous rider. Marianne Vos has got a good turn of speed at the finish as well. But riders now starting to move through, going for a long one here. But it's 200 meters to go up towards the line. And here comes Marianne Vos. Corinne Rivera is poised and ready. Danny Rowe is well up there as well. And again, it's a tough finish, but Marianne Vos hits the front. Rivera's right in the slipstream. Here comes the American right on the line, and a throw to the line. A great finish there between Corinne Rivera and Marianne Vos, and Vos pats Rivera on the back, and it looks like the stage goes to the American.
Wow, what an incredible finish. I thought Vos was going to get that there. That was a brilliant lead up there by Danny King as well. You can see they must have communicated with each other, decided who had the better legs. And at this point, I thought Vos was going to get it, but Corinne Rivera just follows the wheel nicely and just jumps out here, and that line just gets it on the line. What a sprint. She's so happy about that. That is an incredible ride by Corinne Rivera, and well done to her teammates as well, who'd worked so hard throughout the stage to control that group in the final kilometre there.
So Corinne Rivera edges out Marianne Vos for the win on stage 2. Christine Majerus is 3rd, Danny Rowe 4th, and Crazy Elvin 5th. A tough day in the saddle for our overnight leader, Jolien de Hoore, the OVO Energy green jersey wearer, losing over 9 minutes. Corinne Rivera takes her first stage win on the OVO Energy Women's Tour. The American rider was back on the podium as the leader of the breast cancer care points and the iceberg sprint classifications. Elisa Longo-Borghini claims the Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey. The Adnam's best British rider is Danny Rowe, who lies 2nd overall. And the new leader of the 2018 OVO Energy Women's Tour is Corinne Rivera.
3 jerseys today. What does that mean to you and the team?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and I'm really thankful that I can pay back the girls, just, you know, finishing off the job after all their hard work all day, and also yesterday too. But it's just a start. You know, there's still 3 more days to go, so we're really thankful and happy with what we've done so far, but it's not over till it's over.
So confirmation of the GC after stage 2. Corin Rivera has a 15-second lead over Danny Rowe, with Mariana Vos third, just 1 second back. Amy Peters is fourth at 17 seconds. Christine Majerus is 2 seconds behind her. And Elisa Longa-Borghini is in 6th place, 21 seconds off the lead.
Well, it's goodbye from us here in Daventry as it's all changed on the general classification at the OVO Energy Women's Tour. We'll be back with all the race highlights tomorrow as the race makes its way from Atherstone to Royal Leamington Spa. We'll see you then.